Hello Traffic Era blog visitors, this is Scott Holden again with the second part of traffic market research commandments. And the market research commandment we're going to go over today is how to target keywords with good commercial value, and how to find buying keywords. Who are buyers, and how can you tell if a keyword has a group of buyers looking for it? So we were back using the one tool that I use because it's a very comprehensive tool for market research, and that is Market Samurai. And let me just throw in that if you decide to purchase a copy of Market Samurai from my link, I'll go ahead and support you on Market Samurai the best I can, and I'll explain any features or functionality that you're unclear about. Simply message me or post something on my blog, email me if you decide to go ahead and check out Market Samurai. You can take it for a test drive. You can get a free copy of it through my link and take it for a test drive. Try it out for, I believe it's a full 30 days, and you will see that it's quite a nifty tool. It's the main tool I use to do market research. There's a few others, but this one is great because it's comprehensive. Anyway, let's dive back in where we left off. We were talking about the market of Japanese recipes. So I went ahead and did an initial keyword search, and I analyzed the keywords in Market Samurai. And once you've done that, you're going to want to analyze and open tabs for each part of your market, each major category keyword. But once you have those, you can research all of them to see what their potential is. So don't just stop with your first keyword in your market, because you'll find that a lot of the more profitable keywords are further down once you dig into the market. As we saw in the previous videos, I didn't really see a ton of potential for the word Japanese recipes, but once I dug in, I found words like Japanese knife, Japanese cookware, cookbooks, Japanese sets that look like they might be a lot more promising. So let's just take a look. There are three main categories we need to look at. There's four actually, but three main ones that we need to look at to get a general idea whether a keyword has good potential for conversion. So let's start with those. The first one is AWCPC, AdWords cost per click. And so this would be if you were paying for ads in the AdWord network on the Google search engine. And what the AdWords cost per click is, it's an indication of what you might expect to pay to be the #1 ranked advertiser for your keyword in Google. So this isn't the actual cost, this is what you might expect to pay for it. So it's only 17 cents. That's pretty low. That's very low, actually. Why do we need to look at the cost? Because if we find words that have a high cost, like anywhere from $1 and up, we can get a general idea that there's advertisers out there that are already paying, that are bidding that high. So if we see something that's at 5 cents a click, there's no competition on that keyword. Now, cost is not always an indicator that a keyword's going to convert, but it's a good place to start to get an idea, because if there is cost, you've got a keyword that's converting and making sales. If you've got something that's up around $3, $4, even $2, there's money being made in the market. The higher the cost, the more money is being made. So that's one thing we can determine. If it has a low cost, we don't really know. We don't always know. It's more of an indicator that there might not be money, but it's not always. So don't take it at face value. But definitely if you have a high cost, take that as an indicator that there's money to be made. You just have to figure out how. So the second category you want to look at is AWCTR. That's AdWords click-through rate. And what that is the amount of the percentage of people who click on the #1 ranked advertiser's ad in Google AdWords. And this is taken as a percentage of the total traffic for a keyword. So we can't verify this. This is a formula that's done based on the total number of views for a keyword, or it's the total number of clicks on a keyword divided by the total number of views on a keyword, and that gives us a percentage. If we've got somewhere around 1% click-through rate, what this tells us is that our market on this particular keyword is fairly active and interested in the subject if they're clicking on the ads. If you've got 1%, you've got a fairly active market that's clicking on the AdWords ads. If you've got up around 2 or 3%, you've got a pretty rabid market that's clicking on a lot of the ads. If you've got something, that's a lower, they're not clicking through as much, it doesn't always mean the market isn't active. It just may mean the advertisers that are in there have poor ads, poor wording, or they're just not promoting it the right way, whatever it is they're trying to promote. So don't always take it once again at face value, but if you've got a high click-through rate, it means that if you've got a 1% or higher click-through rate, you've got activity in your market, and that's a good sign. Activity doesn't always mean buyers, but it means that people are definitely looking. So if somebody's not converting, maybe they just aren't presenting something that the market's looking for, or presenting it in the right way. So we can say we've got, let's just sort by cost per click first to see what kind of cost there is on some of these keywords. So in the Japanese recipe, we've got words from $1.72 down. Nothing out of this world, but decent cost on some of them. Around $1 is pretty good. Up towards 2 is getting pretty decent. The click-through rate side, if we sort by click-through rate, you just click on the column and it'll sort from highest to lowest, or lowest to highest if you click it again. So on the click-through rate, we've got a 2% on one of the words, a couple of them almost 2%. We've got 1.5, a bunch of keywords over 1% and around 1%. So that shows there's a lot of activity in this market, a decent amount, enough to say that it looks somewhat promising at this point. If we look at the OCI, what OCI is online commercial intention. This one's important. It's an indicator of the chances that someone searching for a keyword is looking to buy as opposed to browsing for information. This data is taken from MSN's database, which is now known as Bing. And it's not always a completely accurate tool. Sometimes they don't have enough data to analyze certain words, but what I can tell you is that if you see a word that has a 90% commercial intention or higher, even 80%, it's a really good chance that that keyword has a lot of buyers on it. So sort by OCI. Let's see if there's any decent words. I don't think it pulled back the data. It's not coming up with any numbers for any of these keywords, so obviously it wasn't able to pull back data. Maybe it just doesn't have enough queries in its database for this keyword, or maybe the functionality wasn't working. We'll check. We'll go in. The final thing I wanted to say is we're going to go and hand check these real quick in the actual sources themselves to see if Market Samurai is in fact accurate, and we want to do that to make sure that Market Samurai is not way off. We can see that it's way off on the commercial intention column. So what these three columns give us an indication of, this is not an exact science, but if we have good numbers, as I explained in, at least if the cost is high on a keyword, you know that there's money to be made, for one thing. If you've got a 90% commercial intention or higher on a keyword, you know that that's a buying keyword, because MSN isn't off by that much of a percent. They wouldn't be putting something at 90 when it's really 40. They might be off by 10%. I would even question if it was that much, but it could be 10%. We don't exactly know, but we can get a good idea if it's 80 or higher. That looks like a pretty darn good keyword. On the other side, if something's got a really high click-through rate, it means that there's a lot of activity, not necessarily indicative of buyers, but indicative of an interested market. So if if we have an interested market, we can oftentimes turn that to our advantage too. So these are three basic, really good indicators that we might be in a good market if we've got good numbers on these. And the final one I wanted to say was the AWA, which was the total number of Google ads being displayed for a keyword. Now, if we have 100 advertisers on a keyword or more, you know that there's a reason they're advertising there. There's money being made. There wouldn't be that many advertisers. So right down here we see we've got 130. Let's just sort by amount of advertisers real quick. I'm going to have to wrap this up, but we sort by number of advertisers from highest to lowest. we can see that we've got a couple with way over 100 ads. That means there's money being made on these keywords, and you can see that they only cost 50 cents on these. So you see that cost isn't always an indicator that there's money being made in the market. If there's 100 advertisers, there's money being, see, even free recipes, we've got 139 advertisers. So there's obviously money to be made here. Now, in the second video, in the second part, I'm going to show you how to hand check these and go over a couple of last points for you. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next video.